Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ADHD Power Tools. Today is our 100th episode. And for our 100th episode, we want to kind of reflect on what we've personally or professionally learned over the course of doing ADHD Power Tools. And we'll both be talking about what we've learned. But Brooke, I want to start off with you. Tell us.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe we're here at our 100th episode. I
Yes.
remember when we started in 2020, was it?
Yep.
My gosh, I had like no sort of background.
It
I
was the
had
midst
no
of COVID. It was the midst of COVID at the time, too.
midst of COVID, right?
Wow.
I had no idea what a podcast was, how to do it. You took me under your wings and you're like, I got you. I'll do all the editing, blah, blah, blah. Just share your knowledge and tools. And you helped me get over the confidence of co-hosting a podcast. So thank you for that. Taking out that perfectionism
Yes.
from that.
Listen, you helped me too. Don't get me started.
I cannot believe. So I know that when we first started, we were just thinking, okay, we'll do it for a year. And we just loved it so much that I said, Ali, you're not going anywhere. Like, I don't care if you're studying for the MCATs. I don't care if you're in med school. Like, we are still doing this podcast. And I remember how stressed out you were because you were trying to manage everything. And we gave ourselves grace and we said, you know what? We'll just do every other week. And that's okay. This podcast doesn't need to be released every week. And now it's a little bit less, but hey, here we are on the 100th episode. So much has happened since we first started in 2020. I learned how to be a wife, how to be a mom, how to manage my business while being pregnant and being a mom, how to learn more about what the ADHD community wants to hear, how to write a book. I know we were talking about that for a while. How to start my own podcast with the help of this podcast to help give me that momentum, and how to create more programs to help the ADHD community surrounding emotional regulation.
100%. You bring up Brooke starting at first and not knowing what to do. I remember it was 2020 and Dr. Reitman, he also likes to be called Hacky, the founder of Different Brains and the president of Different Brains. He kind of took me under his wing too, kind of. He was like, Ali, he proposed the idea, you're going to start an ADHD series with Brooke Schnittman. I was like, okay, sounds good. I had just watched you and Hacky's episode of Exploring Different Brains a few days before. So
Oh
it was
my
like a
gosh.
perfect timing. I already knew who you were. I was like, okay, like sounds good. But I did start it and we began, but I was nervous at first. I was like, I'm not qualified. I'm not an expert. I was just diagnosed with ADHD at 7 years old, but like, who am I to, tell my story? But he drilled it in my head, Hacky. He always told me, people want to hear your story. There's countless individuals out there who will benefit from your story and your experiences. That authenticity is so important, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely. Here we are. We're 100 episodes deep. I mean, I've published articles in different magazines for inclusive health and special needs communities. I mean, we've come such a long way. And I
You
think,
really have.
yes. And what's so important about it all is it's kind of translated into my medical practice. I'm an EMT. I've been EMT for over 2 years now. And with patients, there's a holistic approach that's so important, right? It's not only the right medication, but it's the human connection made up of trust, compassion, and advocacy. I'm applying to medical school now, and it's kind of putting all these experiences together, and the letters of recommendation, the personal statement. I'm kind of accumulating all these thoughts and what I've learned, right? These takeaways. And ADHD Power Tools has been so pivotal, so vital in just my practice. It's just the parallels between it and my practice and in the emergency room, translating into the practice, treating and caring for my patients. It's that awareness of mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being aware, not only treating the person for their illness, but for their humanity, right? The human aspect. But that's really, I think that's the largest takeaway, kind of ignoring the prioritization episodes, the stress episodes, all those, the organizing morning routine, which is so important because I'm like studying
Yes.
MCAT now, and it's like I need those.
I
all
need
the
those
time.
tools.
Yeah, and you talk about balance too. We've talked about all these things, and the leaders we've had on, right? Like Melissa
Mm,
of Mario Armstrong, Jeff Copper. So many important like topics that we've talked about in the past. It's just
yes.
been a lot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like I just got like the chills because it's not very often that ADHDers reflect.
Hmm.
We're constantly on the go. And, it was an employee of Different Brains that made us reflect
Yeah. Yeah.
on the 100 episodes. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you listing all of the different topics that we've spoken about, the person you become in and out of the ER, and just, using the tools, but also, being a better human.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Mm-hmm.
it really touches me that, you and I both dropped the perfectionism here. We just spoke our truth. And
Yes.
because of that, we've gotten, and I know we never really focused on this, but we've got thousands of views on YouTube
Yeah.
on both of our channels for ADHD Power Tools. I mean, it just blows my mind that
Oh, yes.
we've had that
And
many
and
viewers.
well, that's the thing, right? We started in the midst of COVID-19. At the time, I had reached out to Hackey to shadow a physician, because I needed to get some clinical experience with patients at the time, and it was COVID-19. Everything was closed. No one was taking anybody. But I started this, and I was kind of touching people on the grand scale at a time where it was so hard, to have that interaction or kind of make a difference in whether it's clinically, in a medicine point of view, mental, whatever it may be, right?
Mhm.
So and you say like the thousands of views that we've gotten, we've
Oh
had
my gosh.
come a long way. And I think we got to take that and run. I mean, you've started your own podcast, right? Which is
I have, and I wouldn't have done it without the confidence of this podcast. Yeah,
yeah,
successful with 2 L's with ADHD, and I'm waiting to have you on it, Ollie. But
definitely.
yeah, it really just shares other people's journeys of ADHD. So it's like the opposite of this, where they
Oh,
share what they've overcome and how they've overcome it, rather than me being and you being the expert on there.
yeah,
So it's a different take, but it's been really great. Dr. Gabor Mate, Dr. Eamon, Dr. Hallowell is coming
yeah.
on. So good people.
We'll be talking about it in the next episode on how you started and telling us about your podcast over here at
Yeah.
ADHD Power Tools. But yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's awesome.
Yeah. So cheers to us. Raise your glass for 100.
Yes, I have a water bottle over here.
Same. Nourishing our brain for all the people listening out there. Whatever you are waiting to start, just start it. You might
Yes.
not have all the information. You might not have all of the tools, but just try something and see if it sticks.
Brooke, I feel like you've talked about it before on one of your your live Instagrams, etc. But we've talked about it here before too. Taking risks, um,
Yeah.
taking risks is so important. And it's a trouble that us with ADHD have, right? Just doing it, right? We try to
Yes.
plan. We try to choose the colors of a painting. We just never end up painting. So
Yep.
it's like just take the risk and go in. And there's going to be those days where it's like it's thundering right now. There's going to be
Yeah, same.
yeah, it's gonna be those rainy days. You just
That
got
means what you're saying is true.
yes, right. So you got to take the risk and move forward, because I mean it's not worth much without just keep going, and it's going to be those tough times and kind of overcoming that executive dysfunction, right? Just really sitting down and pushing forward. I mean, there'll be those bumps and obstacles, definitely, but
Yeah. And if you need to partner up with someone to build that confidence to get your feet wet, that's fine. Ollie and I never, before Ollie approached me, I didn't think about starting a podcast. And then with him, I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't even think I could. And now that's given me the confidence to go ahead and do a solo one too. So wherever you're at, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to jump in. It's okay to have a partner. Just do it.
yeah, just clear all those open tabs and get started.
Let's go.